Looks like.
Gosh, dog, Wade Moody's here. Hello, Wade Moody. Wade Moody, first one in here. Hello, Brody. How are you, sir? All right. Well, so the most wonderful time of the year is upon us. Jimmy's with me today. He's probably going to make some funny faces back there. But it's SEC tournament time right now, so the SEC tournament is going. That is good. That means we're getting closer to the promised land, folks, of good weather and basketball on TV to watch. So, yeah, absolutely. Trump win in 2020. Wait, I'm going to be honest with you, buddy. I don't know if he's going to win in 2020 or not. I hope so. Yeah. But, man, I don't know. I do not know. Let's just hold on just a second. All right, so what we're going to talk about just a little bit is Adam was wanting us to tell you a couple of the talk about some of the videos that we've done in the last couple of weeks. We have got an Allison spin-on fuel filter change or spin-on transmission filter change that we did, an Allison internal filter change, a PPE Allison deep pan. If you guys are wanting to check that video out, really good one. Interview with Galen from GNR Diesel. Galen's a really good dude. That's a good video. Kind of gives you a background of GNR as a company and just kind of what moved them into falling into the manufacturing sector. So that's a really good video. Yeah, so check our videos out. We're working on a brake video today. Broke a lug nut off in the truck, and that's a damn total disaster. It's a great time. Really good time to be alive. Yeah. So here we go. It's tax sale we've got going on. 10% off some products on the website. Some brands have got 10% off, so check that out. We're gonna give away a bottle of Power Shot today. That's gonna be good stuff. We bought a new Colorado. We did our walk around video on it. The new Duramax 2.8 liter in this Colorado. It's got the ZR2 package on it. It's a really cool truck. It's got a locking front differential. The damn thing will climb a telephone pole. Check that video. And it rides like a Cadillac. Yeah, it's got a real nice torque curve in it. The torque band on it's real. It's wide through the RPM range. It really it's good for a 2.8 liter motor. I'm really excited about it. So maybe Wade Moody will fire one up in his dragster and make 1,000 horsepower with it. Rowdies. All right. So Jimmy's got to be involved in today's thing, so I don't know how we're going to do that. So we're just going to throw it in there and see what's going to. I'm going to oop a few to him.
Mansell, Sterling, buddy.
Sterling's here. Sterling never calls us anymore. Rob's here. Rob left. Sarah is on here. Sarah, how are you, hon? Hope everything's all right in Indiana. Here we go. Neil Romnick says, "Who makes the tunes when doing the DPF?" Neil, give us a call. We'll talk to you about that. When towing and tow tune, do you still use the tow button? Kyle Rutherford. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tow haul button is your friend for a lot of different reasons. Braking, being able to slow the trailer down, being able to slow the vehicle down when you've got a trailer coupled to the truck. You're really going to like that. You're really going to like the tow haul feature. If you couple it with a VGT turbo, you're going to get even better response, even better braking out of it. So definitely use your tow haul. If a truck has an exhaust brake, use your exhaust brake.
What's your thoughts? Like when a guy is towing on the interstate.
Yeah.
You get up into your higher gear and you're set 70, 80 miles an hour down the interstate. Do you still run tow haul? Do you take tow haul?
So most vehicles, that's a good question. So most vehicles, what you're going to have is once you get into what we're just going to call it your overdrive gear, that's it, donezo. You're not going to be working with, there's really not a lot of functionality in the tow haul. Now some trucks, when you've got tow haul clicked, you could be clicking out overdrive, so you'd be overdrive off. If you're running in an area where you don't have a bunch of hills, you're not towing a gazillion pounds, overdrive on is perfectly fine. Let's just give you an example. Let's just say you're towing 5,000 pounds. The highest grade you're going to be coming up on is maybe 1-2%, something like that. Click overdrive on. Run with your overdrive on. But if you're going to be pulling quite a few hills, leave your tow haul on, leave your overdrive kicked out, keep your RPMs up, keeps your EGTs down. Always a good thing. So absolutely. One thing to talk about on that too is tap shifters. Most all vehicles right now have got the manual selectors on them. Use that selector. You will be so surprised how much the strategies on some of the trucks, it's just not a good strategy. It's going to put you in a higher gear faster. If you use that manual shift capability, you can stay out of that higher range. Check it out and try that out. All right. Rob's there. Christopher, Nicholas, Difford, looking to replace my PCV on a 2011 F250 6.7. Are there any aftermarket kits? I think there's a few reroutes, aren't there?
There's a few reroutes out there. I think H&S Motorsports is one.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know who the other one is.
Yeah. Talk to us, call us on that, Chris, and we'll be glad to talk to you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tyler Montgomery is here. Tyler Montgomery.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Be out chasing something?
Yeah, exactly. Bad guys or women. Chris Horgan, did anyone ever figure out the nitrous harsh downshift from 3.2 on a built trans for Duramax? No, hadn't heard it. Miles Campbell is here. Meow. Lowell Carm, what's the best turbo setup for 01 24 valve 5-speed pulling loads, mostly in daily drive with a little fun on the side?
It kind of goes into depend. I mean, what fueling you got done, right? And
Yeah.
programming. Really, that one's kind of hard to go there without knowing a little bit more information.
Yeah. Well, and so with you towing, I think that's probably the key to that. You're going to definitely want to try to stay in a turbo that's going to give you the best response for towing. So smaller is better. Smaller is going to be better here for spool up. So like an Aurora 3000, Fleece Cheetah drop in is a really, really good one for towing as well. So you're trying to stay kind of in that just a little bit bigger than stock. It's going to keep your EGTs cooler. You're going to get a little bit. You're going to get good spool up, not necessarily stock spool up, but you want to make sure that you don't over turbo. If you over turbo, let's just say for example, your truck, perfect example, 66 millimeter turbo. Let's just throw a number out there, 66 mil. Way too big in a towing capacity because you're going to have terrible turbo lag on the bottom of it. You're just not going to be able to get the trailer up to speed. Really, really watch out for that. Don't necessarily look over a turbo because you feel like it's too small and you need a bigger turbo. Yeah, it's great. Once you get the load rolling, it's great. If you've got a larger size charger, you're going to keep EGTs down. The truck's going to run like a scalded dog. But if you over turbo, you're not going to be able to get the truck rolling. That's the biggest thing to it. So make sure that you get a happy compromise of a turbo that's large enough to keep your EGTs in check, but small enough to be able to get you going down the road, man. Miles Campbell said, let's go fishing. You're damn right, let's go fishing. Chris Roush doing LB7 injectors for the first time. What would you tell me? What would tell someone doing them? First off, take your time on the valve cover bolts. I guess that's probably the biggest thing. The valve cover bolts are what's going to take you from, an easy job to an absolutely terrible day. Make sure that they are Allen-headed bolts. Make sure that you have good positive engagement of whatever tool that you use for this. Whatever it is. No, make sure you have good positive engagement of the valve of the tool when you're doing the valve cover bolts. When you get those valve cover bolts, I definitely suggest that you switch over to ARP 6-point or 12 points, either one. They do an awesome kit. Get the Allen heads out of there. Just do that. Make sure that you use a socket as well. Make sure that you use an Allen-headed socket. I think it's at a 6 metric, whatever. I can't remember the number. I don't know why. Make sure you use a socket on that. Get good engagement in it. So that's valve cover bolts. Your lines. When you take your lines off, you're going to get contaminants inside of the top of the injectors. Be very, very careful with this. Watch what you're doing around this. Try to keep your work area as clean as you possibly can when you're removing the lines, so you have less contaminants that are going to drop down into the injectors.
Because it sucks when you get the truck back together and you put the lines back on there and you didn't do your due diligence to clean them, slap them back on there, and you've got a choppy idle because you've got something ran through the injector.
The reason why we're telling you to clean them is what you really truly need to do is you need to replace the lines. Change the lines out. Some people can't afford to do that. Understand that. If you cannot afford to change the lines, if you don't have another penny that you can put into this, make sure that you get these lines clean 100%. Take them someplace with an ultrasonic cleaner. See if you can find one of your buddies that got ultrasonic cleaner, parts washer, whatever you have. Number one failure in injectors and pumps and stuff like that isn't the contaminants that flow through the fuel system because of lack of filtration in most cases, in just about all cases. It is a contaminant that enters the fuel system when you're breaking the fuel system down or putting it back together. You've got to keep a clean work area, and you've got to really watch what you're doing. The last thing that I really wanted to put an emphasis on is the injector cups. When you pull the injectors out, more than likely you're going to have a cup that comes out. It's all right. Don't freak out. Just be calm. Don't worry about pulling the cup off the injectors either if you're sending the cores back. The places that your cores are going, they'll appreciate that, but they pull cups off all the time. They've got tools for it. No problem. Leave the cup on there. Don't destroy the core. Leave the cup on the injector. Now, once you get your cup out, make sure that you replace the cup and you replace both of the O-rings on the cup, and you make sure that you put Loctite sealer, high temp Loctite sealer, on the nipple of the cup when you put it back down in the head. Clean that bore really, really good with a gun bore brush. A 12-gauge wire brush is really, really good. Put it on a drill. Go down in there, clean the bore out, and then put your cup in. Put your injector in with the cup, and then leave it overnight. Don't start the truck with wet Loctite on the seal of the cup. This is very, very important. You don't want to get a bad seal on that cup. You get a bad seal on the cup, you're going to get combustion in your combustion in your coolant. You're going to have to tear the whole damn thing back down and redo it. You don't want to do that. Just be really, really careful.
No bueno.
No bueno. Tools, watch your tools. It's a V8 motor. When you've got the valve covers off of it, if you drop a tool, you can totally run down a hole. It's going right into the daggone oil pan. Hopefully it makes it to the oil pan. So be careful of what you're doing, and don't over torque your studs on the injectors. The studs on the injectors, if you stretch them when you're putting your new ones in, you will reduce the continuity of the solenoids on the injector. Don't over test them. I guess we probably talked all about on LB7 injectors.
I think it's pretty good.
A lot to that, Adam. If you want to, or I'm sorry, not Adam. What's your name? Chris. If you got any questions, give us a call. Sarah Schumacher, Team Wade. You damn right, Team Wade. Thank you, ma'am.
Adam's question there. 2013 Ram 2500 took exhaust off. Now 190 miles till 5 miles per hour. I assume that there's no tune on the truck and it's trying to go into a false regen. If you want to, give us a call in here, 866-737-4966. We'd be more than happy to help you out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Wade. I'm going to give you two of them. Get Kyle Stiles, too.
Kyle Stiles, what's the best way to get more sound out of the turbo on a 97.73? Put a 12 valve in it. I'm just kidding. I got you. No, really, man. I mean, you can change the wheel out and do a wicked wheel and get a little bit more sound out of it that way. Yeah. Just run with the stock wheel, though. I mean, if the factory exhaust is on there, those trucks had cats, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. So
if you take the cat off and you open up the exhaust, I mean, you'll get a little bit more turbo noise out of that if you hadn't already done that. But I mean, other than those two things, what you got there?
Ported compressor housing is not on the OBS, so you're not going to have that. But I think Wicked Wheel is probably going to be the biggest thing for you to get more turbo sound out of it. And like Adam or like Jimmy said, free flowing exhaust. I called you Adam. I probably free flowing exhaust. You're in good shape.
They could have been worse. You could have called me Dylan.
Let's see. Where is it? Will off-road diesel hurt anything in your motor besides it being illegal? No way. Most places that you're going to go now, what's called off-road diesel is still going to be ultra-low sulfur. So that is that. Don't take that for granted. Not all tanks are the same. So that's something to be concerned with. If you're going to try to run off-road diesel in your truck, you have to understand that if you're truly getting it out of a farm tank or something like that, not talking about just the off-road pumps of the thing. If you're talking about getting it on the farm, filtration, man. August Verhey head studs. What's the best for 06 coming? August ARP is what we offer, and definitely do that. ARP 2000s are going to be just fine for you. Make sure you retorque after a heat cycle. You'll be fine. Take Alex.
Alex, when I try to turn my wheels in any way, the steering wheel won't turn. I have to constantly switch between drive and reverse. Any suggestions? So I'm going to read that again. When I try to turn my wheels in any way, the steering wheel won't turn. I have to constantly switch between drive and reverse. Any suggestions?
I don't even know what that means, man.
Is that after a 12-pack or a 30-pack? I'm just kidding, man.
Where's the rim shots? Let's go.
Know.
West Redmond says, what's the deal with the blue? Good question. Kyle said, thanks. Charlie, my boy Charlie. How are you, sir? Tornadoes and rain. What's the yeah, absolutely. Adam Craig got a shout out. Exactly. Chris Zeski, P-Pump Governor Springs, washer mod. Good idea for a budget. No. you messing around with governor weights, and I've seen this happen on several pumps. When you're in there, you've got to make sure that you do that right. Irregardless of what you're going to do, make sure that you do everything you can to get everything back on the stem the way it goes. Because if you don't, when the weights come loose, they will sling through the P pump housing, and not only do you not have a core, you no longer have a pump. Don't do anything shade tree. Do the right stuff and make sure that you follow all the directions in the kit.
Yep.
Neil, I can't answer that question, man. Call us 866-737-4966. Okay, so the Ford F-250, I think it was made between 2000 and 2005 with 6.0 V8. Why did it have a lot of problem? Was it because of the diesel, and was it used at the time, or something else?
I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot of there's problems that have occurred that people have made the 6-liter out to be the problem child. And really, if the problems are addressed, and there's not really that many problems with them, but if the problems are addressed and they're addressed the right way, the truck's really not that bad of a truck. And really, if it wouldn't have been for emissions coming along, they'd still had the 7.3 in them at that time, probably still would. But the 6-liter with the EGR systems on them, that's one problem. The oil cooler getting clogged up, that's another problem you could take out.
A lack of knowledge at the time when they came out, people didn't understand how big of a factor the oil cooler was at the time, and what the breakdown of the oil cooler leads to. Filtration of the coolant is another thing, and making sure that you're keeping good filtration of the coolant to be able to keep the passages of the oil cooler happy, keeping the oil temps lower, and just keeping the overall truck happy. Even with the EGR on it, the truck will live. You've just got to do your due diligence on anything that you do with 6.0 to make sure that it lives. I really think that when the truck came out, a lot of the problems were just basically from lack of knowledge. Ford left the motor in the field for quite a long time. I mean, you're looking at there's 4 years of the truck, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what's that? 5? Yeah. That's 5 model years of it. They left it out, but they knew they had a problem with a 6.4, so you got 3 model years in it. All right. That's enough about that. Glenn Brock, I have 08 Chevrolet Silverado. My question is, I have a machine gun firing sound when I turn on and or apply the brakes. The steering box was leaking, so I added some Lucas Power steering stop leak. Don't do that. Before that, it only made that sound when the power steering fluid was low. After now, it makes it all the time when turning and or applying the brakes. Any idea? Glenn, I don't have an idea. A machine gun firing sound when I turn and or apply the brakes. You could have a restriction in the box because of the stop leak. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. If you have recreated a restriction in the steering gear box because of the stop leak, or a restriction in the pump because of the stop leak, that's the only thing that I could think of. The steering gear that you put on, you said your steering gear was leaking, you didn't replace it. I'm going to go with a restriction now, Glenn. I definitely would get that checked out. Is there an advantage to change to a non-VGT turbo on my 04 6.0? Alex Power, if you're looking for more power, you kind of got to get out of that VGT realm of the frames of the VGT frame turbos to get more capability. But as far as drivability goes, you're going to keep a ton of drivability if you stay inside of VGT. So there's good and bad on it, both sides. Go, Jimmy.
Casey Costello, what's a good setup to get a 12 valve close to 500 horsepower? There's actually really a lot that you can do without buying a whole lot of stuff. I mean, as far as setting the pump up the right way, doing a little bit of pump work, timing. You might slap a little injector in there, like a 75 maybe to 100 at the most. And I mean, if you put a turbo on the truck, like a 62 mil turbo, I mean, 500 is a pretty reasonable number to hit.
Yeah. Timing is the biggest thing there. A little bit of pump work. It doesn't take a ton. One thing that we have that's going to allow you to fuel well is the attitude adjuster, which is basically a movable fuel plate. I really like that because you can actually turn the truck down. It's not as smoky if you're not going to do a turbo adjustment. So yeah, we can totally help you out with this. Give us a call, man. Jordan says, my 6.0 just broke down. Why? No idea, buddy. No idea. Derek, I can't answer that question, man. Can't answer that question.
CJ, what do y'all think about the Titan XD?
I haven't got to drive one
I haven't had
yet.
my hands on one.
No.
I've seen them,
No.
but I haven't.
Seen the motor quite a few trucks. We just haven't got to drive one yet. And I actually made a comment on we had all the light duty motors. We don't. We've got an Eco Diesel. We got the new Power Stroke, and then we got a 2.8 Duramax. But we do not have a Titan XD.
Nope.
We need to get one. O2 Excursion 7.3 won't set parameters. I don't know what that means. Are you talking about an Edge CTS? Let us know, guys. Ricky Warren must do upgrades that make quick power to LBZ that won't mess up drivetrain. What upgrades do make quick power? Tuner, and Ricky, you got to do the right tuner. So
yeah, I mean the three biggest things starting out that's not going to mess up your drivetrain really is going to be programmer, exhaust, and intake, and even at that, slap a fuel system on it too. But most of those upgrades aren't really going to throw you that much power, where I would see you messing up the drivetrain, unless you get out there and hook to the foundation of a house trying to show off. Then.
Well, driving too.
Yeah.
If you're going to go with EFI Live, go with something that's set up for stock transmission, so that your tuner can do everything in his power to be able to help your transmission to live. Yeah. Colt Hawkins, what intercooler do you recommend for the 6.0 to reduce EGTs when towing? BD makes an excellent one, and so does Mishimoto. Mishimoto's a really good one.
Banks, pretty much everybody we carry does.
Yeah. Richard Campbell, 0359 3500 6P with 380 on the ticker.
Yep.
No blow by, but sees down on power since I replaced turbo with an off-brand turbo. What would you recommend, Richard? You're going to have to break it back down and get it broke down and figure out what you've got going on with the Charger. Or do you have a bunch of smoke? If you've got a ton of black smoke there, either something's wrong with the turbo, or you got an intercooler booth that you didn't get tightened up. It's already blown off. Lack of power after a turbo change needs to be addressed. Just get it back down to its smallest part, man. Break it down and see if you can figure out what happened there.
Look at Josh Wesley coming in clutch there.
Yeah. I like that. He did a good job. David Kleba. 0124 valve with a bad programmer. I have to send back in. What would a bad vacuum pump cause blow by? No. Does the truck have plenty of power? I have a feeling the pump is pushing air into the case. David, I've never seen that happen before. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I don't think you've got a bad vacuum pump causing your blow by, man. You down on power? Are you down on power? That's going to be a good question there. Which tuning is better on a Smarty 06 tuner, the TNT tuner, or the Revo tuner? If you're trying to make power, Devin, Revo TNT definitely. Mitchell Webb 0864. I have coolant loss. Maybe a gallon and a half over a year. Been this way for a long time. Still runs great though. No noticeable leak and no noticeable white smoke. Where's it going? Bad head gaskets. Mitchell could be going through the cooler. You could have a cooler breaking down and processing a little bit of coolant. Those would be the first things. You're going to want to make sure that you don't have any pressurized coolant in the tank. What could be happening is you could have some pressure. The engine could be pressurizing the coolant tank. Be it from a head gasket or be it from an EGR problem. You have coolant loss from there. That may be what you've got going on.
Yep. I don't know about that one.
The cap configuration, I think, Cody, the only way I know to do it for 100% certainty is if you take your VIN, call your local Ford dealer, they can give you your rod part number. The rod part number, cross over and tell you exactly which one you got. Bill Jones. Yep. Yeah, old Josh did good. Charlie Russ, you're welcome. Kyle, you're welcome. Lance Jackson 03600. I have a exhaust leak and it's around the flange on the feed side from the engine. I replaced the clamp. I've lined up the Y pipe. I cannot seem to find a leak in the E where the turbo looks. Find suggestions. If you're talking about an 0360, usually what we're looking at is the bellows that are on the Y pipes. just because you've lined up the Y pipes and whatnot, you could have a bellow on the Y pipe that's leaking that's causing the whole issue. Mm-hmm. So that may be exactly what you've got going on, man. Style pistons Montana hand rebuilding my 12 valve and was wanting to know what style pistons you would recommend. Montana depends on what you're going to do with the truck. Are you needing valve relief? What your horsepower goals are for the truck? If you're just going back with a stock build, Mall pistons would be a good one to drop in there, man.
Mall also has a selection for the marine bowl, the deep bowl too.
Yep,
I checked them out the other day.
Yeah. All right. What do Diesel Performance Shop look for when hiring? Currently a Ford tape, but my life revolves around building my truck and my buddies, and I'd love to work. Is that going in Adam's truck? I'd love to work at a performance shop for a living. Any tips would be greatly appreciated. All right, Matt, if you're looking to be on the phone, so phone salesman or inside sales, we really look for your ability to interact with people more than your technical knowledge. Your ability to interact with people, good customer service skills, and good people skills.
A firm handshake, too.
And a firm handshake. Not a daggone limp handshake, a firm handshake. That technically we can teach you. If you're super technical and you've got good customer service skills, you can apply at our website, which is careers@thoroughbreddiesel.com. Send us an email. Resume. We would definitely be glad in talking to you, Matt. Cody Goodrow, I have a 2010 Cummins 6.7 with 174,000 on it, bone stock. What upgrades would you do to it first if it was your truck? Love the page. You guys do awesome stuff. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. Tuner, at this point, make sure you get a tuner that you can grow into.
Yeah, for sure.
That's probably going to be the number one first thing that you do out of the gate. If it's a standard shift, I would go ahead and do a clutch.
I don't know, man. First thing that I would do if it was my personal truck, if I know I'm going to go that route with the program and everything, I might probably look at fuel systems. Let's slap a fuel system on the truck straight out of the gate. That's just me, though.
Jimmy's a genius. Dave Whitney, I use my truck mostly on job sites and not on the road. Can I run red dye without hurting my 15 Duramax Lml motor? Dave, this is a legal issue. One of these things that we can't talk about. If you're running ultra low sulfur, that's the biggest thing. ULSD. If it's a ULSD fuel, good to go. No, then no. Oh, look, he agreed with you. Don Pence.
Yep.
Old Freight File, the ones you had to watch in general has been my finding. Best place to get a reman MV4500. Nathan, ATS does an actually really, really good job on that. I know they're known for automatic transmission, but they do a damn good job on their manual shift.
Up on the website
and they are up on the website. Check them out. Thoughts on the best coolant to run in my 05 6.0. Josh Wesley will tell you probably not to run Ford coolant. Switch over to a Prestone or something of that nature. We always go back with Ford because that's what the manual calls for. Yeah.
That's the 6.0 guy.
Yeah, leaking at the flange. Now I've replaced the flange. Check the gap and everything is tight, but it's still pumping through there. And the turbo looks fine. It's an upgraded turbo with Power Max. Safe from the Y pipe side. The turbo is leaking at the flange, and I've replaced the flange. Check the gap, and everything is tight. Lance, give us a call. You got a whole lot going on there, man. Give us a call. We're going to take one more. Haynes or Fruit of the Loom? Go.
I got Haynes, dog.
I'm a Fruit of the Loom, man.
Because we're split. House divided.
Fruit of the Loom used to be made in Kentucky, so I was a Fruit of the Loom, man. All right, so we're going to give away our bottle of Power Shot today. Our bottle of Power Shot, I'm going to go down here. Chad Freeman, hey, I got parts over here with Andrea. Tell her that I said thank you. I'm going to just pick a guy that I didn't get to. Kyle Clark, you're my guy. You're going to get the additive. We're going to send that out to you. Message page. Sorry we didn't get a chance to answer your question today. Hopefully see you back on here. All right, so let's go over what we got going on. We got 10% off GDP right now. We got an email promo on MBRP. We got a call-in sale on Valera clutches. Check that out. 10% off fleets. 10% off many, many more brands that are on the website. If we didn't get your question answered, give us time. Send us a message on Facebook. We will get it answered on Facebook. Make sure you root on the Cats in the SEC tournament. If you don't have a home team that you don't root for, we accept everybody in. Jimmy is still single. Ladies, if you're watching, Jimmy would like to talk to you.
Or if you own a shop and you're working on trucks, man, hit me up.
Yep.
Me and JT are running the inside sales now for a wholesale division. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, if you're looking for a Kubota track steer, go and buy one from Chad Freeman at Central Equipment. Chad is a fine American. All right, that's it. That's all we got. Thank you all for watching. We love everybody. Thank you all for watching our show. Please try to take care of each other. Just be a good dude. Don't do shady crap. Just be good people. Thank you all for watching.